Peace, love, and prosperity to all of humanity. This is Smith Bay, and we're back because the whole thing has been messed up from the beginning. So, a lot don't make mistakes though. So, Obadiah had a good question. I'd like for you to ask it again on the record so that we can discuss it. Islam.
Sure, Alhamdulillah, Islam. So my question was, I've done genealogy on myself and my family and found that we're Lenape and tied to the Lenape people of here in New Jersey. And knowing that there is no statehood yet in New Jersey, and there is a Lenape government in New Jersey, like how could those interact? Would they interfere with one another? Are they working side by side with each other?
Mhm. Okay. That's Thank you for your question, and that was an excellent question. That was a great one, actually. That requires a lot of answers. It's a long answer, I should say. Okay. Where do we begin? The Lenapes, the Lenape Moors. You see the name Lenape Moors.
Right.
Okay.
Delaware boys.
Yeah, right. Delaware Moors, Lenape Moors. The key word there is Moors, Cherokee Moors, Seminole Moors. Okay. But what is the word Moor? Moor is an abbreviation or short for Morocco. You can't even spell Morocco without more.
Mm.
Firstly, same with Moroccan, right? That's the foundational term in those words, Morocco and Moroccan. So then what am I saying? The Lenape Moors, the Delaware Moors, the Seminole Moors, the Cherokee Moors, whatever tribe Moors are Moroccans. One thing doesn't have to do with the other. So as a Lenape, that might be your uh, tribal affiliation, but your national identity, your international identity from which you draw your protections from the empire is Moroccan. Okay. The government, the Lenape government. The Lenape government is subjugated. Any and all Indian tribes who have treaties with the United States are subjugated under what's called I wouldn't say it's free association, but it's sovereign independence. They're not sovereign and independent. The preamble to the Act of Algeciras tells you that the goal was to be was sovereignty and independence, which then brings about integrity of your domains, which then brings about your economic liberty without any inequality. So the Lenape Moors, the Cherokees, whatever Indian reservation or whatever is a subjugated status in which the United States, the federal government, has jurisdiction, civil and criminal jurisdiction and authority over those reservations. So that's your answer for that. So if Moors, which there's a group of Moors who attempted to establish Pennsylvania, the problem is that they tried to establish three different locations: Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. This is Unami Buffalo Nation, who's been excommunicated. They didn't want to course correct. That's a violation of international law to take over three different territories. And so they decided to just go with Pennsylvania, but yet there's another problem because all your officers, two of your officers are in Delaware, the other two are in New Jersey, and then two are in Pennsylvania. So you mean to tell me that the Minister of Foreign Affairs who lives in Delaware is supposed to be the competent authority of the state in Pennsylvania? Stop with the BS. And they didn't want to course correct from that either. So they were excommunicated. So therefore, what that means is that the state of Pennsylvania, the chartered colony state of Pennsylvania, the chartered colony of Delaware, and the chartered colony of New Jersey are all wide open for Moors to come in and make a proper claim in that territory, that Uti Pasadeta's jurisdiction. Because Unami Buffalo Nation have no authority or full powers in those territories. They've been excommunicated and they're not to be recognized. So you and 5 other Moors or 4 other Moors can establish your Moroccan state governments in New Jersey, in Pennsylvania. You will be the sovereign authority above the chartered colony of Pennsylvania, while Pennsylvania would then have authority. Well, the government of the United States actually would have authority over the Lenape Moors. So that's the order of jurisdiction. Empire comes back into existence. So when the empire is back into existence, here's the order. It would be the empire with the ultimate authority, whatever the name of your state would be in Pennsylvania as the Moroccan government or the Moxen. And then it would be, well, actually, it would be the empire, then the United States. No, not the United States, because your government would have authority over the United States. So it would be the empire, your state government, then the United States, then Pennsylvania, then the Lenape Moorish government. You see how far below the succession of authority they fall under? Yes, they're sovereign, got their own government, constitution and stuff, but they're not independent because they're tied to the United States by treaties. Does that answer your question, good brother? I can hear you if you're
He said Islam in the chat.
okay. Yeah, he said I'm muted, but yes, but you can allow everyone to unmute themselves so they can speak freely, if you don't mind.
Okay. All right, brace yourself.
I want to play this video, but I can't because it ain't. This video is hacked or something. Because as soon as I played this video, it caused all types of problems. And I could hear it through. I could hear it over here. Let's see if we can make it. Let's see if we can get it to play now. Let's see. Share the screen. I'm sorry this happened, you all. This was unfortunate. Still can't hear it, can you? Oh, I think I know what it might be. Nope, that ain't it. Can you all hear it? No?
No, it's not. The sound is not.
Wow. Okay. All right, well. Oh man. Let me close it out then. All right. Back to the class. Are there any other questions? I'm unable to play the video. The audio is not playing, and I don't want to waste any time on it. You can always go to the Wazir Council YouTube channel and watch the video, or you can go to Hakeem Bey YouTube channel and watch the video. The video will be available. We'll post it on Telegram. On Telegram, Facebook. You'll be able to see it. I just thought it would have been fitting to play it since we're talking about the flag. But we're talking about flags in general and the purpose of flags as it relates to nation states. But it's not limited to nation states, or should I say countries or governments, whatever. Flags are even used to wage war. The Britannica book. Can someone please help me out with the read? Can you see that, or do I need to?
I can see it.
Okay. Let me increase it a little bit. Please be patient with these advertisements. This is the Britannica Encyclopedia. Oh man, the whole class been messed up. Dealing with flags, right, and heraldry. So you can begin where it says flag, a piece of cloth.
Flag, a piece of cloth, bunting, or similar material displaying the insignia of a sovereign state, a community, an organization, an armed force, an office, or an individual. A flag is usually, but not always, or a hoist. The main portion of the flag, constituting all or more of its area, is called the field or ground. In addition, flags often have a design element in the upper corner of the hoist called the canton, which is distinct from the field. Flags of various forms and purpose are known as colors, standards, banners, ensigns, pendants or pennants, pennons, guidons, and burgees. I'm not sure about that. Flags originally were used mainly in warfare and to some extent.
Hold on
Okay.
a second for you to pause, but I was on mute and I just realized it. Sorry about that. We'll get back to that particular paragraph. So before rudely interrupted, I was pointing out that the flag that Prophet Noble Ali brought was as of 1915. It was under the French protectorate that the five-pointed star was added onto it. Prior to that, it was just red. So then I gotta ask, what was meant when the prophet said that this flag was flying over here for the past 10,000 years? Exactly. Crickets. Is that a corruption of his literature, or did he mean something else? Because the flag that he brought, which has the five-pointed star, has not been flying over here for 10,000 years. It's been over here since 1915. Prior to that, it was the plain red. Prior to that, it had the scissors and so on and so forth. There were several different flags in the past 10,000 years to represent the Empire of Morocco. Just food for thought. Now, it says here, flags of various forms and purpose are known as colors, standards, banners, ensigns, pendants, guidons, or guidance, and burgees. We were taught that the U.S. flag is not a national flag, it's just a banner. That was also incorrect. That's a misconcept. The misconcept in the Moorish American paradigm is deep rooted. It goes deep. It's so much of it. There's a lot of misconceptions. This is why I try to impress upon you all that the Moorish American paradigm does not at all mix with the statehood flag. That's the national flag that belongs to the Americans. We're supposed to have our own national flag. But there again goes the misconceptions, because the idea is that the United States belongs to us, and it does not. Can someone please, I dare you, by all means, bring the reference point. Show me where Prophet Noble, since people want to say Prophet Noble Ali didn't say that, okay. Show me where Prophet Noble Ali said that we were British. I'll wait. And I'll wait forever. We never said that we were British. We said that we were Moroccan. So if it was Moors who created the United States, those would have been the British Moors that the Moors referred to as brutish Moors. So that ain't us, is it? We are the Moroccan Moors. So our flag is the Moroccan flag. So what do the Moorish Americans do? They fly the Moorish flag with the American flag, i.e. Moorish American. You're representing two different nations at one time. That's asinine. That's like representing two continents at the same time, Africa and America, African and American. So if the Moors would say that that's asinine, then guess what? Your nationality is asinine if you say that you're a Moorish American. You're representing two different nations. Oh, I'm Brazilian, Peruvian. While simultaneously going to court and telling the judge that you ain't got no jurisdiction over me yet, you calling yourself American. Now, it would be different if you were like, let's say, an Italian American, because Italian Americans, Korean Americans, Brazilian Americans, whatever Americans, they, by virtue of their own will, decided to naturalize themselves and become citizens of the United States. And that's how they became Italian American. An Italian family came over to America, to the immigration office, asked for an application to become a citizen. First, you got to be a resident for a predetermined time period before you can become a citizen. And then you become Italian American, Polish American, British American, whatever American, German American. But that wasn't the case with the Moors, was it? We were naturalized on paper against our will, against our consent, without us even knowing it. So if you're going to say that you're Moorish American, that's cool, but then don't go into court and say that you're not American, or that or that America doesn't have jurisdiction over you. Oh, and by the way, all of you who believe that whatever process takes you out of the jurisdiction, any process that has nothing to do with a Declaration of Independence and a Constitution is flatly frivolous, and you are still indeed American. I don't care if you say I'm an American national, I'm a non-U.S. citizen, and all this crap that I keep hearing. You're still an American citizen. They still have criminal and civil jurisdiction over you until you're able to tell me the name of the head of state of your state that you have taken up an allegiance to. Until you're able to tell me the name of the consul general from the competent authority of the state that falls under the executive branch, your chief judge, right? Unless you're able to show me a state ID from a de jure state, Moorish state government, birth certificates and all the documented evidence, the properly written instruments that prove you to be of a separate jurisdiction, then by that way and that way only can you say that you are no longer in their jurisdiction and that you're not American. But if you did some UCC whatever, some trust whatever, et cetera, whatever passport that says, oh, you're not a U.S. citizen, you're a non-U.S. and all this, it's semantics. American citizen is a U.S. citizen. Period. Your goal is to become a national of Morocco, a Moroccan national, by repatriating back to Morocco, by signing an application, right, to take up allegiance and consent to a Moorish state government under the pre-existing and existing sovereignty of the Empire of Morocco. Then you're a national, a Moroccan national, someone of a separate jurisdiction. The United States will no longer have criminal and civil jurisdiction over you. Now you can invoke Article 20 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And you still can't even do that until your state has acceded to it and ratified it as law for your state, which is called the constitutional procedure. These aren't the things that we were taught as Moors, Black people, Moorish Americans, African Americans. It's the spiritual leader, guys, whether in or outside of the temple. All of them are spiritual leaders. Grand Sheikh is a spiritual leader title. Grand Sheikh is like saying a reverend. Grand Sheikh is not equivalent to a wazir. Now, don't get me wrong, the title is to be respected. Trying to throw shade on the title. I have Grand Sheikh in my state. He just spoke. And I have the utmost respect for him and his knowledge of more science. Right? But we can't mix up the two. We can't say that the temple is a state. It's not a state. not when the title Grand Sheik is equivalent to that of a reverend. So that's like saying that a church is a state, and it's not. The temple was designed. Okay, what did Noble say? Come, all ye Asiatics, and learn about your nationality. Then you can go out into the world and take your place in the affairs of men by establishing the national side of the movement. It's the national, there's the divine first, and then the national. Through the divine, you get to know that you're Moroccan, so that then you can come out and establish the Moroccan state governments and then enforce the Moroccan treaties through Moroccan law and international law. The two principles that's on the flags that we're utilizing to force decolonization and gain liberation from our occupation from these colonists. That's the competent way to go about doing this. I digress. Continue, sister. Flags originally.
Flags originally were used mainly in warfare, and to some extent they have remained insignia of leadership, serving for the identification of friend or foe and as rallying points. They are now also extensively employed for signaling, for decoration, and for display. Because the usefulness of a flag for purposes of identification depends on its blowing out freely in the wind, the material that is preferred is usually light and bears a device or pattern identical on both sides. Wording, therefore, tends to be excluded, and the simpler patterns are favored. Any colors or devices may be used, but European usage normally follows practice of heraldry in discouraging the juxtaposition of metal and metal, i.e., of yellow and white, or of color and color without metal interposed. The flag of the Vatican City State constitutes an exception to that rule.
Where you see the flag on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
Mm-hmm. Origins. Flags recognizably as such were almost certainly the invention of the ancient peoples of the Indian subcontinent, or what is now China.
Hold that thought. You see the BS? Hold that thought. Hold that thought. You see the BS?
I see what.
Ancient peoples of the Indian subcontinent. But the ancient aspect as it relates to anything, especially government, starts and ends with the Moors. This is why it's so egregious, asinine, and it makes my head scratch when Moors say that we don't need state government because it's your state of mind. Your state of mind is the government, and you are the president, the legislator, and the judge. You're the all three branches in one. Like, and that government is to govern your mental. You take the word government and put AL at the end and governmental and say, oh, the government is to govern your mental. No, government is not to govern your mental. Government is for the protections of the people. The question is, what type of leaders do you have? What type of structure is the government? Is it a monarchy? Is it a democracy? Is it for the people, by the people? Because if it's for the people, by the people, and the people themselves allow the government officials to run amok, then that's your fault. Because your job is to stand up and hold your government officials accountable. We are public servants. The people are the boss. Right? As the Wazir of AMPAG, the people of AMPAG are the boss. I serve the people. As government officials, you're supposed to serve the people. So if you're no longer serving the people, it's up to the people to hold that government official accountable. That's what a democracy is, or a republic. For the people, by the people. The democracy is the due process of voting. It's democratic, right? It comes back to the people. The people vote for who they want to represent them. That's the democratic process. So don't let the old Moorish paradigm have you believing that democracy is demonic because the word demo is in there and it's a platform for the Jesuits and the Pope of Rome and the to undertake their unum sanctum policies. Like, ugh, absolute misconcepts. It's not what a democracy is. And nobody don't care about no Pope and no unum sanctum policies and no motu proprio. Nobody don't care about that. All those documents are subordinate to the supreme law of the land, which is the treaties. That's what we stand on. So as long as we stand on treaties and international law and statehood, all these intercaterra divina and unum sanctum policies and the secret treaty of Verona, none of that stuff apply to us. It apply to more subjects though, because as long as you remain under the under American jurisdiction, the laws of the country shall apply to you without any restrictions. That's what's being told to you in the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15. That's why you either have to choose between entire submission and come back and repatriate back to Morocco, or if you stay in American jurisdiction, or if you stay in German jurisdiction, or if you stay in British jurisdiction, or if you stay in French jurisdiction, or if you stay in Italian jurisdiction, or if you stay in German jurisdiction, or if you stay in Polish jurisdiction, if you stay in Russian jurisdiction, then the laws of the country shall apply to you without any restrictions. And why did I mention all those European states? Is because all those European states are signatory powers to the Treaty of Madrid. So any of those colonizing states have the authority based on treaty rights to do as they please with you if you remain in their jurisdiction under their civil and criminal jurisdiction of their particular state. Which means that the German Moors are naturalized as German Moors. The British Moors are naturalized as British Moors. The French Moors, Italian Moors, Spanish Moors, Russian Moors, they're all naturalized as the name of the country that's naturalizing them. The colonizing European states. Just like the American Moors, Moorish Americans. A Moorish American is no different than a German American and a French American and a British American. They're all subjugated Moors. All those Moors are supposed to come back to Morocco to be just simply Moroccans. Not French, not German, not American, but Moroccan. I'm sorry, I digress. Continue, sister. It is said that the founder.
It is said that the founder of the Zhou dynasty in China, 1046 to 256 BCE, had a white flag carried before him, and it is known that in 660 CE, a minor prince was punished for failing to lower his standard before his superior. Chinese flags had devices such as a red bird, a white tiger, or a blue dragon. They were carried on chariots and planted upon the walls of captured cities. The royal flag, however, had all the attributes of kingship, being identified with the ruler himself and treated with a similar respect. It was thus a crime even to touch the flag bearer. The fall of the flag meant defeat, and the king would rarely expose his flag and his person together, the flag being normally entrusted to a general.
Now you see, how did that happen? It says the royal flag, however, had all the attributes of kingship, being identified with the ruler himself and treated with a similar respect. It was thus a crime even to touch the flag bearer. Okay, can somebody unmute themselves and tell me how did it become a crime to even touch the flag bearer? Don't overthink it. Y'all know the
Will
answer.
Someone had to
flag
pass
bearer
a law or put some sort of policy together that made it official so that everyone understood that that was the standard. And if you went against the standard, then you were breaking the law.
That's the executive director of the WRC, Nova Iluel, and that is absolutely correct. Through the power of the pen. Some sort of law or legislation that says, okay, anyone who touched the bearer of this flag is getting beheaded. This is what I'm pointing out right there. It's the power of the pen. We have to learn the power of the pen. They took the flag from us. Go back to it. Go back to it. A whole sentence. Not even a paragraph. They took the flag from us with a sentence. Right? So we got to learn to do the same. Where was I? Did I lose my position? No, that mercy. I went all over. Okay, here I am. Right? So that means too then that we can write policy or some sort of legislation that say that nobody can touch the flag like that. Right? Moorish Americans don't even look at the flag. Because this flag ain't for you. This is for Moroccans. Now, this is not a divisive thing, don't get me wrong. But the Moorish Americans are dividing themselves from us. And we good with it, whatever you want to do. If you want to be proud to be an American, then that's your choice. There hasn't been a full 24 hours. There hasn't been a full 24 hours. And the Canadian, Moorish American, Jamaican bobsled team, VHS scholar, non-rapping, offbeat rapping, Cujo L, has already made a slander video to disrespect Maru State Republic and the unveiling of the flag, calling it the fake empire flag, and we're dirty Moors who's bringing our people back into slavery because we redesigned the flag. Okay, but what would you say to the Sharifian Empire, the Sharifian dynasty, for redesigning the flag? Are they dirty Moors too, who's trying to put everybody in slavery? So this flag don't represent you, Cujo, or none of y'all. Y'all got y'all flag. You rocking this flag right here. This is the flag you rocking. The Article 4 of the Constitution for the Kingdom of Morocco flag. Which means that you are in error, which means that flying that flag is fraud. This is the reason why we can't keep just standing on what Prophet Noble Ali did. Why is that? Why am I saying that? Because at the time when Prophet Noble Ali brought the flag, there was no Kingdom of Morocco. You see? It wasn't fraud for Prophet Noble Ali to fly at the time because he was representing the empire, and the empire was still in existence. The Sultan was still in the seat. The Moxen was still in position, was still in place. There was no Kingdom of Morocco that wrote this sentence right here. This didn't happen until 1958. Things have changed over time. So to stand on, did the prophet say that? Man, listen, that's old news. It's been a century, damn near. Things have changed dramatically since the prophet was here. During the time of the prophet, there was no driver's licenses and all this stuff, was there? Okay, well, there was no Kingdom of Morocco. But today there is. And today, this is what they have done through a properly written instrument with the pen. They wrote a sentence to take back or to claim the flag on the salvage while we were asleep and acquiescing.
Islam.
Go ahead, brother, because I'm
just to add to that, Noble Drew Ali did say that the times that have been won't be no more. So that applies to the usage of the flag as well. And I'm pretty sure that if he was around when the Kingdom of Morocco was created, he would have taken action to resolve that.
Exactly. Islam. Okay, sister, continue. Flags had equal importance.
Flags had equal importance in ancient India, being carried on chariots and elephants. The flag was the first object of attack in battle, and its fall would mean confusion, if not defeat. Indian flags were often triangular in shape and scarlet or green in color, with a figure embroidered in gold and a gold fringe. If those and the Chinese flags had a common origin in the standards of ancient Egypt and Assyria, standards in that sense meaning solid objects such as metal animals attached atop poles, then they might have developed from the streamers often attached to the pole. That possibility gains some likelihood from the fact that some Indian flag staffs were surmounted by a figure similar to that displayed. Oh, somebody else might. She stopped. That possibility gains some likelihood from the fact that some Indian flag staffs were surmounted by a figure similar to that displayed on the flag itself. Mughal royal insignia included, however, other things besides the flag, more especially yaks' tails and the state umbrella. Flags seem also to have been used in India as in China for signaling, and there is an instance of a white flag being used as a signal for a truce as early as 1542 CE. Indian and Chinese usage spread to Myanmar, Burma, Siam, now Thailand, and other parts of Southeastern Asia. Flags with a background of white, yellow, or black silk are mentioned, with devices, and in parentheses, an elephant, a bull, or a water hen, for example, embroidered on them in gold. A Siamese treatise on war gives the impression that the flags were unfurled as the march began. Want me to continue? Flags were probably transmitted to Europe by the Saracens, and the prohibition in Islam against using any identifiable image as idolatrous influenced their design. They are often mentioned in the early history of Islam and may have been copied from India. The Islamic flags are greatly simplified and appear to have been plain black or white or red. Black was supposed to have been the color of the Prophet Muhammad's banner, the color of vengeance. A black flag was used by Abbasids in 740 in 7 Abbasids in 746 CE, AH 129. The Umayyads choosing white by contrast.
Umayyads.
Umayyads choosing white by contrast, and the Kharijites red. Green was the color of the Fatimid dynasty and eventually became the color of Islam. In adopting the crescent sign, however, about 1250, the Ottoman Turks apparently were reverting to an Assyrian sacred symbol of the 9th century BCE and probably of greater antiquity than that. The crescent moon, with or without an additional star or stars, has since become the accepted official symbol of Islam.
So you see, through flags,
Mhm.
we established the official symbol of Islam. But these are all different Moorish dynasties of the Moorish Empire, y'all, which included also India. We're reading our own history. We're the ones who established the science of flags. What is it that it represents? The symbols in it, the images in it, the colors. What does the color mean? Right? So a lot of these it actually comes right here in Europe.
In Europe, the first national flags were adopted in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Many of the leaders of that time adopted the flag of their patron saint to represent their country. In England, for example, the cross of St. George was adopted in the 13th century. Toward the end of the Middle Ages, flags had become accepted symbols of countries, kings, organizations, cities, and guilds. Guild flags bore obvious devices. For example, a black flag with 3 white candles represented the candle makers of Bayeux, France.
Continue.
Forms and functions. In Europe, flags were subdivided according to their shape and purpose into standards, banners, guidons, pennons, and streamers. There were also many flags of a personal, family, or local significance that were of a different and usually more complex pattern. Of the main types, the standard was the largest and was intended from its size to be stationary. It marked the position of an important individual before a battle, during a siege, throughout a ceremony, or at a tournament. For the monarch, it marked the palace, castle, saluting base, tent, or ship where he or she was actually present. Standards were also used at first by the greater nobles, whose personal insignia they bore. They were originally long and tapering toward the fly, ending in 2 points. Banners were square or oblong and were borne in action as the standard was not, before royal and noble warriors, down to the rank of knight banneret. Those again bore the personal or family device. The guidon, a word derived from the French guide homme, was similar to the standard but was rounded in the fly or had 2 swallow tails, both rounded. Guidons were borne by leaders in battle who were of no more than knightly rank and so not entitled to display a banner. The pennon, a small triangular flag, was carried by each knight on his lance. One purpose of the pennon was to obviate accidents in much the same way as does a red flag tied to a long pole or rod that extends beyond the tailboard of a truck. But the pennon served also to strike terror into the enemy and to denote rank.
Right? So we're going to stop right here with this reading in the Britannica book or online book and move on to something else that's germane to what's being discussed here. But what's been read, what's been expressed thus far, would you agree that essentially everything that's being discussed was mostly Moorish science, ancient Moorish history? See, they conceal it in words like Islam. And they might even say ancient whatever, like ancient Indian, ancient China. When you talk about ancient anything, Islam, anything, they're talking about the Moors. Period. It just is what it is. The ancient Indian dynasties were called the Mauryan dynasty. Indians will tell you that. And I know that to be the fact because I've had conversations with Indians. And I would ask them, are you aware of the Mauryan dynasty? Their eyes, they go in shock. Their eyes peel open. Like, how you know about the Mauryan dynasty? You're not supposed to know this history. Yeah, well, I ain't supposed to know I'm Moroccan either, am I? Let's go into the color meanings of flags and the symbols of flags, right? If you'd like to continue reading, sister, that's great. If not, let me know and someone else could read.
If someone else could read, but point of interest, I
Yeah,
ran across a YouTube video, and it was an Italian gentleman, and he said everybody knows that that America is Moroccan soil. He said, and that the black people, and I'm just using black,
Yeah, I'm good.
are Moors. He said everybody knows that except them. Everybody in the world knows that except them.
Right.
I thought that was interesting because I didn't know but I'm learning.
Islam, we don't know. That's what we were just talking about earlier. This is how the Kingdom of Morocco was able to get away with taking the flag. Through a properly written instrument in just one sentence to describe the flag. Mine. Okay, before we go into the meanings, let's go to the United Nations real quick. I think this is it. No, this is Britannica right here. Flags of United Nations. So these are all the flags that are flying. Where are they flying? Let me show you. Right here. What do you think this is? This is the United Nations, where all the flags are flying. Okay? So if the flags are flying there, then that means that that flag and that nation has world recognition. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's scroll and find the Kingdom of Morocco flag. Armenia, Argentina, Barbados, Bangladesh, Belgium, Botswana, Bulgaria, right? Cambodia, Cameroon. Keep in mind that as we continue to scroll, we're not going to find black anything, right? We're not going to find Black America or anything like that. We've been delaying our own justice. We don't have a flag that represents our people, do we? The flag that represents our people is which flag? The colonist flag, the United States flag. That's a problem. And the Moors, they only utilize the empire flag in conjunction with the American flag. That's still a problem. Why is it still a problem? Okay, let's continue scrolling. So you got Mexico, Monaco. Oh, what do we? Morocco, right? Well, which flag of Morocco is that? Is that the empire flag?
Kingdom.
That's the kingdom's flag. So, as Moors, let's say us as the competent authority of Morocco, we establish the empire of Morocco, and we hold on to that particular flag. Would that not cause confusion across planet Earth? Because one country is already claiming it as their flag, and now here we come and claiming the same flag as our flag. Why we have to? This is why we have to come with the proper, competent claim before we even fly the flag, because we could be held accountable for that. It's fraud. It was claimed on paper. So we have to first take them to the ICJ, go through the due process of that, so they can change their flag, and then we can keep our old flag that we fell under. Nah. It's okay. Unfortunately, we had a problem earlier. Well, let me display it again. I think I might have closed it out. A whole bunch of things I had to close out because of okay, there it is. We'll just pull it up right here. That's the flag. That's the flag we're going to. Now, nobody can say anything. Oh, you can't see it.
No,
Okay,
you
hold
didn't pull
on.
it up. I'm like, where is the flag?
Let me stop sharing and share again. That's the flag. The seven with the circle seven flag. Why is it circle seven? The 5 points of light: love, truth, peace, freedom, and
5
justice.
points. And the international and Moroccan laws.
There you go. Oh, and by the way, who am I speaking? Who's speaking right now?
That's Mariama.
Okay, it's not Miss Mariana, Sister Mariana from AMPAG, the associate, the little.
The little Z's. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that's the flag. So now let's go back and look and see. So this is the old flag. We fell under this flag. Is being claimed by Morocco. It's all good. Y'all can have it. It's being flown at the United Nations. Keep in mind, Morris, when we get back, when the United States of Morocco come back into power, this flag will fly at the United Nations, representing all of our several Moroccan state flags. As this with this flag as the empire flying at the United Nations, guess what that means? This flag, okay. So if all the flags at the United Nations, the pole that it sits on is at, let's say it's 90 feet high. The pole sits 90 feet high, so they're all even. The pole that holds this flag would be 100 feet high. What am I saying? It's going to be slightly higher than all the other flags because this flag has the authority over all those other flags. Do y'all understand what I just said? Is there any questions to what I just said? This is the flag. This flag represents the ultimate authority of planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The United Nations is an offshoot of the League of Nations, and the League of Nations is an offshoot of the diplomatic body. The diplomatic body is based in the Moroccan Empire. The whole concept of the United Nations started with the diplomatic body. And all the resolutions, conventions, and all the arrangements written, drafted by the United Nations is based in Moroccan law. The Secretary General of the United Nations is to the United Nations. I was looking at something in the chat that popped up on my screen. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, is supposed to report back to the empire. That language is found in the League of Nations Charter. These are things that we got to understand more. We have a lot of power and authority in the world. That's why we can't come back. That's why it's important for us to come back under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We got to love instead of hate. What does that mean? That means diplomacy. You can't come back in this thing with a vengeful spirit saying, oh, you enslaved us, well, we're going to enslave you. And hang them high and all this crazy stuff. We have to engage in friendly relations through friendly applications and find a way to coexist on the land because that's how it was established by the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. However, that us coexisting with one another on the land is based in the Moroccan Empire and the Moroccans having the authority over any and all foreigners, including the foreign Americans. In exchange for the right for them to hold property and participate in commercial activity in the domains of the empire, they're supposed to pay taxes. Period. And that's what we're going back to. So let's look at the color and meanings in flags. Does somebody help me out and read that real quick? It's a short read.
Color meanings in flags. We often take for granted the significance and meaning behind some of our most well-known symbols. Flags have long been used in representation of places and people, and the thought that goes into their design goes far beyond just the choosing of complementary colors and images. Their meanings often exemplify the values, history, and moral standing of the places or individuals they represent. The importance of flags. Flags have been used as common symbols in history for over 5,000 years, dating back as far as 3000 BC, with a metal Iranian flag and flag representation in Egyptian tomb carvings. Vexillology, or the study of flags, which takes its literal meaning from the Latin word guide, a meaning which continues to carry weight in the use of flags today. The word was created by Dr. Whitney Smith in 1957.
Hold that thought real quick. Flags have been used as common symbols in history for over 5,000 years, dating as far back as 3000 BC. Who were the people in existence during those times flying flags?
Moors.
The Moors. That's when we were in our proper person. We were inside of the constitutional fold of government. I call on all the true Americans to help me get my people back into the constitutional fold of government. Prophet Noble Ali. The whole problem with us was never racism. Racism is an illusion, it's a narrative to conceal the real truth, the real history about what took place. And what took place was we fell out of government and became protected under the jurisdiction of other governments, depending on what region of the empire you're in. Us over here, we happen to be in the American jurisdiction. The Moors in Germany are in German jurisdiction. The Moors in Italy are in Italian jurisdiction, and so on and so forth. Russian jurisdiction and such. All that is the Moorish Empire. But it's okay. We are the Moors of the third and fourth generation coming in with our eyes wide open to put the old Moorish American Moors in the back. Go sit down somewhere, read a book. No, better yet, read a treaty. Just one. Understand it. It is your treaty, you know. It is a Moorish treaty, not an American treaty, not a Spanish treaty. It is a Moorish treaty where the Moors and the Moroccans, in that contract, we are the dominant. We are the authority. Everyone else are subordinate in that contract. We're dominant, they're subordinate. We're the landlords, they're the tenants. It's that simple. There's nothing complicated about this. Go ahead, sister. Flags have been used.
Flags have been used in battle for symbolizing wins and defeats, or to send signals to allies and enemies. In today's society, every country in the world flies a representative flag, as well as most states and territories within. Many families, organizations, and sport teams have also designed characteristic flags. Regardless of the venue or reason, a flag's design is created under careful consideration, and the colors used in its foundation represent far greater ideals than what is found on a simple color wheel. Color symbolism in flags. Colors within flags differ from country to country and state to state. The colors presented hold deep-seated meaning and representation. Black, often used to represent determination, ethnic heritage, and/or the defeat of enemies. It can also be used as a symbol of death or mourning.
Okay, hold that thought. So when we were deliberating at the round table for the Wazir Regional Council, it wasn't just the Wazirs. We had other executive staff members as part of the debate. and they had a problem with some, not all of them, but there was a few that had a problem with the color black. And unfortunately, that was based in misconceptions. Because it wasn't to identify the people as black. It's for the significance of the color black as it relates to flags. See, we have to. A lot of times, man, one thing doesn't have to do with the other, but we bundle it up as if it is. We have to, as Moors, man, we got to start being able to utilize discernment and common sense. Use your intelligence. Don't get caught up in the indoctrination of the misinformation from the old paradigm. So as you see here, black often used to represent determination, ethnic heritage, and or the defeat of enemies. So in order to force decolonization and come out of this problem that we're in, it requires a lot of determination. Keep in mind that it also requires self-determination. It also represents our ethnic heritage, which also means then that it represents the Moroccan identity. Not saying that Moroccans are black, it's just because black on a flag means that it represents the heritage, the ethnic heritage of a people. So if Brazil has black on their flag, does that mean that they're black? Or is it identifying the identity as Brazilians? This is why we got to use discernment. We got to be more intelligent in this. Anything with black now suddenly is the devil. Anything that was a pain point to us in the American jurisdiction in this new paradigm, now to them, it's still the boogeyman. It's the devil. Democracy, ish, right? Words like ish for Moorish, democracy, black, and it's like, bro, is your tires black? Do you have black tint? Or do you got white tint because you want to be white? Because you say we're white because Noble Ali said that white is pure and pure is God and the landlord and all. We're not white, and we're not free white persons. Free white persons in the Black's Law Dictionary relates to the European Moors, the Portuguese and all that. We're not white. And we certainly ain't black. What are we, Moors? I'm going to let y'all answer that question. What are we?
Moroccans.
You just said it.
Period. And as such, we are the landlords. Continue, sister. White. Oh, before you go, white. So if you put white on the flag, does that make you the white man? This is what Moors would tell you. It's the same concept. Don't put black on there because we're not black. It's like, bro, we're not putting it on there to identify us as black. What? Go ahead, sister.
White, seen as a symbol of peace, purity, and harmony, and it has also been used to represent surrender in times of battle. Red stands for power, revolution, vibrancy, and war, symbolic of bloodshed. Other meanings include courage and domination, while it can also be viewed as an alert of danger.
Hold that thought. What color is the flag of the Moors? Red, with a 5-pointed green star. Well, what does red rep? And now with two stripes at the top and the bottom, representing international law and Moroccan law. So what does red stands for? Stands for power.
Mm-hmm.
It stands for a revolution. Isn't this a revolution? You know how they say the revolution won't be televised? Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to be televised real soon.
Peaceful revolution.
There you go.
Just got to clarify that.
Thank you. It's a peaceful revolution. See, the word revolution has a negative connotation. It means that you're going at it's all about war. No, it's not necessarily all about war. It's a revolution that's taking place with the pen, a peaceful revolution. Vibrancy and war. The war of the pen wars. We're engaged in a pen war with the United States right now as we speak. So let me tell y'all something. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that's proving that what we're doing is absolutely correct. We're seeing some serious results right now. We're seeing what I'll call an anomaly. They're behaving in such a way that's not normal to their characteristics. We just don't broadcast it. We just do the work. We just keep pushing forward with the work. We don't broadcast the results. Morris be saying, well, what has the WRC done? Ain't nobody doing nothing that y'all done. What are y'all doing? Excuse me, we're not here to prove anything to you, Moorish American. We're here to get the job done. We're here to force decolonization. And as we go through those varying stages in that due process of decolonizing the land, yes, we're seeing results, but there's no need for us to go out here and broadcast those results either, is it? You want to learn about the results? Join the movement. Because as long as you're on the outside, you won't know the results. You won't know the results till we get the ultimate result, which is to decolonize fully and have the president sign Public Law 856 to relinquish their extraterritoriality in Morocco. Wait for that result. In the meantime, these little wins, we're not going to broadcast it. But best believe we're getting some wins behind the scenes. Symbolic of bloodshed. How many of our people shed blood to get to where we're at today? Malik Shabazz. Well, let's start with Noble Jew Ali. Malik Shabazz, Martin Luther King. What's his name? Khalid Muhammad, etc. Other meanings include courage and domination. It requires a lot of courage to do what it is that we're doing. Do you realize that my face, as the chairman and the prime minister of AMPAG, my face is well known by the colonists? J. Jermaine Bay's face is very well known with the colonists. And don't the colonists like executing and assassinating folks? I'm taking a chance here with my life. Ask me, do I care? I'll be all right. But I am taking a chance with my life. However, the more we bring in states, the more you all establish your states and become part of the WRC, the more you encapsulate me, the more you encapsulate Jay, the more you encapsulate Nova, the more you encapsulate all of us. The more we have on the books, the more powerful we grow, and which means the more safer I become, the more safer Jay become, and the more safer all the Wazirs become. All of you who are on the call who are considering statehood, I want you all to know that the more you sit on the sideline thinking about it, the more you're delaying your own justice. Those of you who are close to gaining recognition from the WRC, you know who you are. Been talking to you since last November. It's almost November again. It's been a whole year. You're delaying your own justice. We're not here to rush people, but at the same time, Lord have mercy, what's the holdup? If you're scared, go to church. This movement here requires courage and determination so that we can bring about domination. Because once we force decolonization in Morocco, in Al-Maghrib al-Aqsa, Morocco of the farthest west, once we force decolonization here in the West, all the other colonizing states of Europe will start falling like dominoes, which means then we would have decolonized the entire planet, because all the Moors in all the other jurisdictions, i.e. the French Moors, the German Moors, the Spanish Moors, the Russian Moors, all of them going to rise up and establish Moroccan states. They're all going to join the Empire of Morocco, which means all those colonizing states will have to do what? Fall under the jurisdiction of those Moorish state governments, which are the Moxins, to the empire, which is ruled by a head of state. Excuse me. So let's get it done, Moors. Let's not continue delaying our own justice. There's really nothing to it. The problem is that we've never done it before, or we haven't done it in a very long time. Get back in the game, and it would all start coming back to you. Islam, sister, go ahead, blue.
Blue signifies determination, liberation, alertness, and good fortune. Green, often seen as a symbol of agricultural influence, as well as prosperity and fertility. It can also be viewed as youthfulness and hope.
Hold that thought. Isn't that the other color on our flag? Green?
Mm-hmm.
So it says symbol of agriculture and influence. Well, you're talking about land, prosperity and fertility. You gain prosperity from the land, and the land needs to be fertile, isn't it? Because you sell your, a lot of your resources come from the land, whether it be diamonds, gold, oil, whatever. It also can be viewed as youthfulness and hope. Aren't we a people full of hope?
Mm-hmm.
And aren't we a youthful people? Don't they say black don't crack?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
These things are absolutely is absolutely identifying us as a people and who we actually are, who we really are. And in our policy, we're expressing that in our policy, the policy that relates to the flag. We'll go over that policy too, by the way. Go ahead, continue. Green or yellow?
Yellow. Yellow or gold has long been viewed as a symbol of wealth and energy, as in the sun. It can also be used to represent happiness. Orange, viewed as representation of courage and sacrifice. Country flag. They want me to stop?
No, I want you to go. We're not. Well, we can probably go through the whole thing because it's really not a long read. But what's interesting is what's being said about the United States of America. Go to that one.
Okay, United States of America. What do the colors of the American flag mean? The red symbolizes valor and bravery, while white stands for purity and innocence, and the blue signifies justice, perseverance, and vigilance.
Okay.
Purchase American flags.
This understands for purity and innocence.
I know,
Oh, stop it. There's nothing pure about you, and there's definitely nothing innocent about you.
Or just. Or just.
Or just. Well, yeah, no, yes and no. They do have how do I put it? We can't forget that what Article 15, paragraph 2 says, right? And the laws of their country applies to us without any restrictions. But I understand what you mean when you say not unjust, but unjust to our people. But we have to understand something. The whole time that these colonists or the foreign Americans have been in power, it has not been a comfortable reign for them. They have always been on edge about what will Jesus do. Y'all remember those bracelets? What will Jesus do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a question they've been asking themselves. What will these Moors do? Keep it in mind that Jesus is justice. we represent justice.
Mm-hmm.
What will these Moors do? They have been nervous about what we're going to do. And so the activity that took place with them and us appeared unjust from our side of the coin. On their side of the coin, however, it's always been fear. We got to keep them down. Because if they wake up, man, I don't know what they're gonna do. Are they gonna behead us? Are they gonna be fair? What they gonna do? So we got to consider that. We got to look at it from that perspective. Also, don't forget what George Washington said to Sidi Muhammad in the letter when he said, I regret the hostilities of these regencies who are attacking us and we ain't do nothing to them. What regencies was he talking about? The Moors. We were attacking them, enslaving them and doing all types of atrocities with them, taxing them on sight. So what goes around comes around, doesn't it? You reap what you sow, don't you? Karma is a mother effer, isn't it? So let's not really get too deep and complaining about their unjust behavior when we were unjust to them. And also remember that they themselves are in fear as to what it is that we're going to do. We are the ultimate authority. We are the last power on planet Earth. And everybody knows that. So to go back to their colors, you got to agree with perseverance and vigilance. They had to persevere a lot to get to where they're at. Valor and bravery. Go ahead, brother.
Interest.
Go
I have
ahead.
a quote from Thomas Jefferson. He says, "Indeed, I tremble for my country when reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever, that considering numbers, nature, and natural means only, a revolution of the will of fortune, an exchange of situation is among possible events that it may become probable by supernatural interference." So he knew, he was saying that what he knew he was doing would come back on him one day, even though it was, the God Allah doesn't wink at his eye at you're doing. So, and another thing about Thomas Jefferson is that he had a Quran. So he knew Allah personally, because he was sworn in with the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this statement you can find, it says Thomas Jefferson notes on the state of Virginia. And it starts off, "I tremble for my country."
What will these Moors do?
Exactly.
They're all trembling for their country, man. They're all trembling.
Peace.
I saw a video where it was a panel of Europeans or Americans, and the discussion was the return of the Grand Caliphate of Islam. And their concern there was that the Grand Caliphate of Islam was going to come back and behead everybody, all the white people. That's what their concern was. And I was like, wow, they're concerned. What it is that we're going to do? That's why we're going to end up shocking them, because we're not here to behead anyone. We're here to put you back under the jurisdiction of our authority and for you to start back paying taxes. That's it. You pay your taxes, we good. You behave accordingly to our legislation, we're good. You recognize that we are above all y'all, we good. Because we are above all of them. And by the way, let me get back to justice real quick. Okay. If a black man brings harm against another black man, let's say a black man breaks into a black man's house, they're going to end up before the judge, possibly, right? And the black man that broke into the black man's house is more than likely going to find guilty and would have to do time for breaking into your house. You just found justice in the American criminal system. If a white man break into your house, the same thing more than likely would happen. You just found justice in the American criminal system. Okay, let's talk about the goofy activity of gangbanging, because those are goofballs. Yes, I said it. There's nothing more ridiculous and more goofy than two people who are of the same heritage to kill each other because you wearing a color that I don't like. That's absolutely goofy. And any wazir who comes with that energy, don't even try it. I don't care if it's family association. You don't post that crap on Facebook or in any social media and you trying to be a damn wazir. I hope y'all hear what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Anyway, a blood kills a Crip. And that blood that killed that Crip gets found, gets caught somewhere, wherever. You get caught by the police. Will he do time for killing that Crip? Yeah. Yes, he will. That Crip guy has a mother, a father, possibly a daughter, sisters. He got family. They're mourning his death. And the white man just gave the one who killed him time for it, which means justice was met. So it's hard for people to say that the white man is not just. It's not just because there's many instances where they delivered justice to the people. The issue is that he's in fear. And so he does BS, a lot of BS stuff, right? But that's our fault because we've been acquiescing. Notice how they're behaving now. Our backstory that nobody really knows. Notice how they're behaving now, Makara. Huh. That's been their fear the whole time. And if it wasn't us beheading them, it's them paying taxes. Okay, well, you're going to have to deal with paying taxes. You ain't got to worry about being beheaded, but you're going to have to. You're going to, that's your concern. You got to pay taxes. Lots of it. And you owe back taxes. Oh, but you got it. Because you've been sending, you've been sending Ukraine, what, $23 billion every day since the damn invasion? Oh, you got it. So there ain't too much to be worried about.
While people are living in the streets.
That's coming to an end too. All this whole homelessness. What Tupac said: "You got money for war, but can't feed the poor."
Mm-hmm.
Nah, man. Nah, man. We're here to put an end to all that. I digress. I'm all over the place because these hackers threw off the class. So we're just catching up. We're just trying to figure. We're just going for it. Whatever.
Islam wannabe hackers, just to clarify.
Say it again.
I just wanted to clarify. They're wannabe hackers. They didn't really do anything special. It's just permissions were set for everybody, and they just took advantage of it.
I thought
All right. And brother, let's bring it back in. You got it. Bring it back in. Let's stay focused on what we come here to do. We uplift and follow humanity and we structure. So keep moving forward. They do us all for a minute, no problem. Let's get back on track and move forward. Peace and love.
Back on track, moving forward. That's Mia Moore Bay, the Wazir of Elodia Moroccan Parade in Monte, Michigan. She got a story to tell, but we don't broadcast nothing. Just know nothing that we're doing is in vain. I want to take the time now. There's a few more points of interest, but when we were in the call yesterday, apparently during the live unveiling of the flag, there were questions that for some reason, we missed them. So now we have, I'm opening the floor. Well, I think Hakeem, I asked you to do it. I'm not sure if you were able to do it. But I asked a few more to pull those questions from the live and ask it now so that we can answer those questions. So if anyone have assisted me in that, please let's ask those questions. I yield.
And if the public that asked the question is not here, we can always schedule where we could come back and regenerate those questions.
Islam. So the main one that I saw, I'm pulling it up right now, but the main one that I saw was people were wondering where they could get the flag, or is it available for purchase?
Okay. Is Brother Akil on? Brother Akil had an answer to that, I believe. Yes, you can have it designed according to the design, and you can order from Amazon. So now that it's been unveiled, now that it's been revealed, it's accessible to anyone to take the design and have it recreated with Amazon or whoever you see fit. But just recognize and remember and understand that's a Moroccan flag, not a Moorish American flag. Moorish Americans got their flag. It's based in fraud. This is the Moroccan flag, Islam. Any other questions about that? About the from the class or the unveiling?
Yeah, the Moroccan Empire flag.
Yeah, some other people were asking for the contact information, but that was at the end of the video. But if you want to say it on here as well, for whoever's watching.
Well, the contact information, Sister Nova, are you there? Can you please give them the contact information? I'll be messing them up.
Yes, the email address for the Wazir Regional Council is just that, wazirregionalcouncil@gmail.com. For the most part, everything can go there, or there's contact.the.wrc@gmail.com.
That's the one that I'm always messing up. And also, if you were to go...
I'm sorry, did you all hear me? I was talking. I think I was on mute.
No, we heard you. I heard you. Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah, we heard you. We heard you.
You heard me? You heard me okay?
Yeah, I heard you fine.
Yes,
Okay.
I heard you fine as well.
Okay, perfect. Someone was calling me at the exact same time, so I wasn't sure.
Okay. Okay, yeah. We heard you. We heard you clearly. Another way that you can find that contact information is at the end of the unveiling video that Brother Hakeem created, which again, honors and kudos to you. That was an excellent video. The way you made the seals move with the beat, that was just, boy, you a beat.
Can we get a copy of that? I didn't see, I wasn't present at the unveiling. I was trying to get on, I couldn't get on. Can I get a copy of that?
For the video?
Yes.
Sure. Well, you can always just get the YouTube link and go to ssyoutube.com and just download it there.
All right, thank you.
And you can also go to the Wazir Regional Council channel, YouTube channel, and view it there as well. It's also there. So it's available for anyone who want to see it.
And for everyone who go, please don't forget to like and share.
Islam.
Yeah, please like and share everything that you see on Facebook so we can get this information out to the public. But as far as the contact information at the end of that video, where the flag is just flying in on the pole, that's where you will also see the contact information.
There's another question here. Someone had asked, who can help me get proclaimed? So
Who can help him do what?
Get them proclaimed.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that for a second, because I've had that question as well, and I'm not sure if the brother is on, because he asked me on DM, and I told him to come to the class. We can discuss that further. Well, it depends as to whether there's a Moorish state government within the territory that you live. If not, then you'd have to create it. So if there's a state government, a Moorish state government in your territory, then that you can go through the Moorish state government. If there isn't one, then you'd have to create one and establish your national identity that way.
And to clarify, if they need assistance creating a Moorish state, they can contact the Trusteeship Council.
Correct.
And that email is Wazir.
Oh, I thought you were going to...
Yeah, I was waiting for you to chime in with the email.
Okay. I thought you was going to say, I don't know the email. That's a shame. Kendon, are you on, good brother? Kendon is usually on. Or Nova, do you have the contact info for the Trusteeship Council? Yeah, I'm not prepared on that one. I'm sorry, y'all. But we'll get it. Go ahead.
Brother Abdul, what you doing, man?
I'm well. Hold on one second, Kirk. Let me try to get the Trusteeship Council contact info. That's important. Nova, are you there? Can you back me up?
I would get it for you, brother Abdul. You can continue. I'll get it for you.
And keep in mind, all this information is at the end of the intro video.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
I just can't remember.
I apologize. I did not set up that Trusteeship Council email, but I'm very positive it's trustee.council@gmail.com.
Say that again.
I'm pretty positive it's trusteeship.council council, the WRC@gmail.com.
Okay.
But I didn't set that email account up, so I don't have it in front of me, and I apologize.
Well,
That
worst
was
case
set up by
scenario,
the president.
right, which is Akil.
Mm-hmm.
He's not on right now. So worst case scenario, just go to the Wazir Regional Council at gmail.com. And I mean, Nova's gonna hate it, but for now, that's where you'd have to go until I'm able to broadcast the email or the contact information for the trusteeship council.
Islam. Just to clarify, I went to the video. It's trusteeship.councilwrc@gmail.com.
There we go. All right, appreciate that.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so we got Brother Kirk had a question.
Yeah. Islam, how you doing? Peace
I'm
and
well,
love to
brother.
everyone. Peace and love to everyone on the platform. I see we changed the flag, the Moroccan flag, the Empire flag. How long was this in the making?
What was that?
How long was this in the making? I never heard about it before.
Oh, well, you should have known about it because you're a political group foreman who really are supposed to be a member state right now, and you would have definitely known about it. But it was in the works. It's been in the works for the past, I don't know, 3 months?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in the past 3 months. We had to come up with a new design and then vote on it. So all the nationals of all the several Moroccan states got an opportunity. They got a ballot to vote on it. And so they voted between two renditions, one with the black border, one without the black border, and they all chose the black border, making it a red, black, and green flag. And so, yeah, in the past 3 months, we went through the due process and to include the policy to represent the flag. We went through all that in the past 3 months. If that answers your question.
Oh no, the reason why I asked, I thought we would do something like that in a convention. Cause that's something big, something real ancient, and that's something real big.
Mm-hmm. So, well, the convention would be for the Constitution. That's even bigger. The Constitution for the Empire of Morocco, the United States of Morocco. All the states will come together and do that. That are currently present. We're not going to wait for all 50 territories to be reclaimed. However many we don't
have to do that. I mean, when the 13 come online, we could do that. But
well, it may not be 13. It might be 8. I said it might not be 13. It might be 8. It might be based on the same 7 because we've got 2 that are. We really should have 9 right now. But 2 of the political groups that are forming are dragging their feet.
Well,
delaying their own justice.
Well, we were just talking about that. But we talked about that yesterday in our meeting. So I asked the question: what else we have to do? What else we need to finish up so we could get this thing done, complete?
Well, you called yourself out, but I wasn't calling you out. I was speaking in general. I ain't saying, but I'm glad you pointed yourself out.
Because I know you're talking us.
You called yourself out. Appreciate it. So yes, y'all. Now that you
I think the process that we have left is just to finish off the treaty, and that's it.
Okay.
Finish the Senate to the treaty, and that's it.
So all right. Well, I mean, I don't know whatever.
Wazir, let's take one day. Everybody take one day and just
point of privilege. Point of privilege. What state are you in concerning with?
Al-Andalusia, Ante, Florida.
Oh, Ante, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
What political group yeah, okay.
They're a political group. So that all you understand, there's 3 statuses within the WRC: political group forming, non-member state, and then member state. So we've got quite a few in the pipeline that are political groups forming who's looking to establish, complete the due process, check the boxes to then become non-member states. There's another few set of boxes in that level, and then you become recognized as a member state within the WRC. So we've got quite a few: Vita California, Ante New York, Ante Florida, Ante Arkansas. I mean, the list just goes on. There were some people discussing matters in Pennsylvania to the brother Obadiah, but I'm not sure what the status is with that particular group. But yeah, so that's the process, right? That's where we're at right now, and we're not going to wait for everyone. We're going to continue moving forward. If we have to do it with 7 states, then guess what? That's what we're going to do. So we got to stop delaying our own justice. We got to move forward with things, especially if you've already been in the pipeline for the past year or so. Like, it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be. It really only takes less than 3 months. You can get this thing going. To extend past that, even worse, a year or close to a year, that means that you're procrastinating, or you're scared, or something. But the job is not getting done because it doesn't take this long. And I'm just being honest. You know me. I'm gonna be straight up with all y'all. It is what it is.
A lot of people work and the schedule sometimes don't meet.
Yeah, I recognize that. Trust me, I've been through that. All of our people work, but we still got it done. Others work. Everybody work. You're not the only states that's working. They got people working. And I'm not coming down on you or your state. I'm just speaking in general, but you happen to put yourself out there. So, hey, well, it is what it is now. And again, we're not rushing anyone, but at the same time, you know,
I'm not gonna say you're wrong or anything. Yeah, I think it should. I think it's full time now, but like I said, I'm talking to everyone that let's take one day off and just do everything that we need to get done. Where everybody can take the same. Everybody have to be able to take the same day off, so we can get everything done one time.
It's wrong.
See what I'm saying?
That's whatever y'all got to do, man. But y'all got to get it done. That's all I'm saying. And be intentional about it.
Oh yes.
You know, because you're missing out on history. Like your state, like right now you're asking about the flag. However, your state could have been involved in that. And should have been involved in it by now.
I think the wazir said he had voted on it.
I don't think he did, because political group foremans don't have the power to vote.
Well, I guess they asked him about it, and he said he agreed with it.
Right.
That's too bad.
That's good. One thing is for sure is that this is not something that we hid from anyone. At least not the Moroccan states. Right? But this is a Moroccan flag for the Moroccan Empire. So there was no need for us to ask the Moorish Americans to vote on it. They're incompetent. They're on another level. They're flying somebody else's flag based in fraud. And they don't want to course correct, and they don't want to recognize the movement. That's fine. No worries. We're going to keep moving forward. So what we working with right now, and that we will only work with from here on forward, is the competent Moroccan officials who established their states, the nationals and the officials. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about. Period. Whether they like it or not, we don't care. This is a Moroccan movement, not a Moorish American movement. Those are two distinct people. That's the reason why we had to redesign the flag, so that we can differentiate ourselves, Moorish American craft, and also the Kingdom of Morocco. We stand alone as the competent new Moroccans who have risen back into power out of our slumber. Somebody had a point of interest. Go ahead, brother.
There's a lot. Sister Nasara had a question. She had her hand raised.
Okay, Sister Nasara.
Yeah, I have a question about, is there a policy for how long you can be a political group forming? Because, say, for instance, there is another competent state, a group of individuals who want to work with competent individuals, and they want to form the state. So is there like how long is it, like indefinitely your political group forming, or is there a
Well,
timeline?
there's no time, there's no policy uh, regarding how long you can be a political group forming. Um, it's up to you and how fast you want to move. And so if there's another, if I think your question is, let's take Alabama, for example. If there's a political group forming in Alabama that is taking too long to form their group, form the state properly to then become non-members and then members, but then there's another group of Moors who come in that may potentially move faster or whatever, that's not going to work. If another group of Moors emerge out of Alabama, they have to link with the political group forming. Period. If the political group forming is in good standing with the WRC, they're just taking a little longer than we want them to, then that new group who came in, they would have to be a part of that political group forming. We're not going to allow them to circumvent the political group forming that we've been working with the whole time. If that answers your question.
Right, but like say the political group forming was forming for 2 years or 3
Sure.
or
Right, I know. I don't know, Sarah. That's a good question. I think what you're saying is maybe we should have a policy to put a time limit on this, and that's a consideration.
Yeah, because that could be weaponized to delay our progress as a people.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's consideration. That's something. Sister Nova point. That's a agenda for our next meeting. We might need to talk about that. Thank you, Sister Nasara.
Yeah.
See, that's the developers thinking right there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
point of privilege. I don't see any reason why anybody would wait that long to form a group unless they're just not serious. And if they're not serious, we would have identified that way ahead of time before it even got to the mark of 2 years. At 6 months in, if you're still political group forming and you haven't gotten the work completed, then we're going to start asking some serious questions as to whether or not you all are serious about this or not. And ultimately what we're going to do is just stop working with you. It doesn't mean that we're going to continue, we're going to block you or do anything, but we're just going to say, okay, if you don't get this work done, we're not sharing anything else with you. So if you can't complete the tasks that are in front of you, then you're really not taking it serious and you're wasting our time. So that's when it becomes more of a question as to, is your integrity where it needs to be? And that means, following through on the tasks that have been signed to you. So I would see no reason why anyone would take 2 years to get through forming a group, unless you just ultimately broke apart. Then there's no more political group. At that point, we'll just be waiting for other people to join together and start another group. So with that, I yield the floor.
Islam.
Go ahead. Somebody who had a point of interest?
Islam.
Hold on, brother. You sound like you're in Timbuktu. You want to come closer to the mic or whatever?
This is better, right?
No. You might need. You're getting closer to being heard properly.
Hello.
Oh boy, yes, I hear you now.
Whoa, second. Hello, is that better?
That's way
better. A lot better.
All right. Islam, everybody. I am Lamandra Lavar, Akil Babar El, Chief Kazi to be inshallah for Alodia Morris Trading in Nevada. I'm stationed in Las Vegas. So we have been ready to move forward. We just been waiting on model instruments from WRC to be formalized, and then that's when we'll be ready to move forward. Thank you. I yield the floor.
Oh, Islam. And you okay? You're the chief judge. How many of you guys are? How many constituents do you guys have in your political group forming?
The Las Vegas branch. We had quite a few people dropped out, but we all young for the most part. I'm 26. We have a 24-year-old, a 22, and a 20-year-old. Yeah, all males. We need a Sede Raja. But yeah, for the most part right now, for sure though, it's about 3 to 4 heads.
3 to 4 heads, okay. And all y'all youngsters, all y'all still got Similac on your breath. Man, it's all good.
Point of privilege. When the young people get this, it's gonna take off like a jet.
Man, let me
it's
tell
over
you.
with.
Yeah, that's
It's
what we
over with.
need right there. We need the youngsters, man. When the youngsters start getting onto this information, when the young Moors start treating statehood like it's rap, shit.
And that's what's going on too, because you know we do music videos, we in entertainment. And once the science, hit us, man, I've been out here, actually helping all the youth, that's in my age bracket and under, to get on to the science. And we've been out here, man, saving ourselves from the policy enforcers always messing with us to any little incident we in now, we stay covered in the blood. We hit them with the science and they leave us alone. It's always discrepancy at most, yeah. But for the most part, we learned that, we're protected now, and I come from being, Black, I'm from Los Angeles, California, South Central LA, the gangbanging, like you said, generations of it. But I've been the one to been touched by God and been able to turn the other cheek, per se, right? Make a change. So, and that's what literally I've been using my own life as an example, as a sacrifice. And man, I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm seeing the word of God before my own eyes, and it's real. So I'm happy to be here and happy to be a part of this, the whole decolonization movement.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you, good brother. You and all your constituents, regardless on your age. That's just like the sister Nasara, the Kazi for Vita California that just spoke about at 16. She already knew about the French protectorate. See, that quality of people is what's needed, regardless on your age. The question is your level of maturity and your willingness to erudite yourself and becoming the best official that you can be for the people and on behalf of the people. And it sounds like you guys got the right energy, and we're more than happy to have y'all. Islam.
Islam, eyes wide open.
Eyes wide open.
Point of privilege, if I may, brother. I want to say to Sarah and the young brother to know that you have been chosen throughout your generation and to break this this thousands of years, a curse that been put on your people. So really, this is a big thing, it's bigger than us. And just know that you was chosen and you so divine, because many been called, but only few is chosen. And you was chosen. All of us here tonight, we are the chosen ones. So know this and move accordingly. So we got a big job ahead of us. So let's get it.
Islam. Thank you for those words, Mia Moore, Wazir and member of the WRC. Anyone else got any points of interest or questions?
Yes, Islam. I did want you to clarify something. I may have missed it, but I did hear you mention that is the Empire of Morocco flag. However, I'd like, just for the sake of clarity, for those watching and not here or haven't been a part of the voting process, because I was under the impression initially that the flag was going to be for the WRC, but eventually used for the empire when it is reestablished. So if you could just clarify, what is it right now?
Okay, thank you for that, good brother. I think we might need that clarification. So as of now, it represents the flag for the Wazir Regional Council. Now you got to understand, what does the Wazir Regional Council represent? The Wazir Regional Council is a placeholder for the central government, which will soon become the United States of Morocco, or the empire, right? And when that transition takes place, the flag, this particular flag, which is currently representing the WRC, because we got to remember the empire, we haven't reestablished the empire yet, right? So as of now, it represents the WRC as the central body, central government. And once we transition into the United States of Morocco through its constitution, then that flag becomes the flag for the empire, which means that the WRC would now be void of a flag, which means now we would have to establish a flag, which we already got one in consideration that you created. Now, let me give you further clarity on something. So the empire, the United States, let's say the United States of Morocco, would have its head of state, which would be equivalent to the Sultan. So let's say it's the Prime Minister of the United States of Morocco. Now the WRC will then become the Moxen, right? Which would represent the executive branch of the empire, the central government. And that organ would have its own head of government. Then you would have the executive branch, the legislative branch and the judicial branch. All three of those branches would be attached to the Empire of Morocco with the head of state, which would be like, let's say, for example, like I said, the Prime Minister. So it would be the Prime Minister through the Empire or the United States of Morocco. And then you'd have the head of government, which would represent the executive branch through the WRC. Then you would have the legislative branch, which will be the Council of Sayarajas. So all the Sayarajas will come together as a council. And then you have the executive branch, the judicial branch, which will be essentially the same thing with all the chief judges. Does that answer your question? Does that give further clarity to the due process of how this flag would end up being the empire flag? Does that answer everything, or do I need to elaborate a little?
That was perfect.
Okay.
Islam.
Point of privilege.
Yes, Executive Director Nova Ilu.
As the states are joining us at the WRC, becoming recognized and members of the Wazir Regional Council, it gives each and every one of the states an opportunity to nominate individuals to work at the WRC and to assist. And for that reason, that the chairman just stated, eventually we will evolve into the United States of Morocco, and the WRC will become the Moxen. It's a good opportunity for you to get your feet in and actually understand really how to truly run government while your state is forming, because you won't have a lot of experience with certain positions until we reach the triple principle. Or let's say, for instance, if you're a Rosdom from national standing, you're not going to really be nationalizing a lot of people until you've decide to open that up. So for that reason, it's important that each and every one of those individuals that are coming into statehood be looking towards working for the WRC and contributing, because that's where you're going to get the true exposure to how this intergovernmental organization is making policy, resolutions, communicating effectively, understanding diplomatic relations amongst our states right now. And it's like practice for when the real United States of Morocco comes. So with that, I'm just saying that when you do decide, or if you do attach yourself to a government, or if you haven't already, that you consider coming and being a part of the who could have our treasury part of it. There's so many areas within the WRC that will be needing assistance. So I just put that out there. We would like to see young people coming with lots of skill set, those that are willing to contribute. And it's just one little task that you can contribute to on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, or whatever would make a difference. Other than that, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Executive Director, for the WRC. And what she said is definitely on point. We need all the help we can get at the WRC. Which is, listen, anyone helping the WRC, anyone helping the several states, anyone taking part in the movement, you're not helping me. You're not helping Nova. You're not helping Jay. You're not helping any of the Wazirs. You're helping yourself. and you're helping your posterity, your future generations. You're helping your families. Because this is the difference between the Moorish American movement and the statehood movement. The Moorish American movement is selfish because it's based in your remedies, whereas the statehood movement is selfless because it's based in the remedies for the people as a whole, the people of the land as a whole, by forcing decolonization. So by you helping the WRC, you're helping your posterity, you're helping your future generations, you're helping your children, you're helping your parents, you're helping your whole family, you're helping all your friends. If you get away with a ticket, you're able to go to court and get the ticket dismissed. You didn't help anybody but yourself, and you only helped yourself for that moment because you're going to get a ticket again, and then you're going to have to go and stand before the judge again and get it dismissed again, and it's still not going to be to the benefit of your people. It's just going to be to the benefit of you. And it's a short-lived benefit because it's going to happen again. I brought y'all back over here to the Treaty of Fez real quick to explain the French protectorate that I mentioned earlier before we had all that commotion. This was part of the reference points that I wanted to bring up. It sidetracked me. The whole commotion sidetracked me. So as you see in Article 1, and it also shows the word Moxen so that Moors understand what the word Moxen means and how does it relate to your government. Because in the past 100 years, since Noble has passed away, we've never heard the term Moxen. We've never even examined the Treaty of Fez, period. So let's look at Article 1 real quick. And someone please read Article 1 for me. Actually, begin with the preamble. Oh, Lord, somebody.
The government.
Hold on, Ali Bey, you marked up my screen, brother. You put a red mark in my screen. So whatever.
I don't even know how that happened. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I've done it before to others, and I'm like, oh, my bad. So whatever you did, don't do it again, please. It's okay. All right, go ahead, brother. That was gonna read.
The government of the French Republic and the government of His Sharif and Majesty, desirous of inaugurating a regular regime in Morocco based upon internal order and general security, which make it possible to introduce reforms and to ensure the economic development of the country, have agreed upon the following.
Okay, so the Sultan got with the French government for the purpose of introducing reforms and to ensure the economic development of the country. Why? Because the reason for it is because the Sultan, a couple years prior, had taken loans with the British government and the Spanish government, which fractionalized and brought problems to the empire. In 1906, through the Act of Algeciras, it was entrusted upon the French government and I believe the Spanish government and other colonizing states to bring to assist the Moors to come back into the constitutional fold of government, to assist the Moors to come back into the Moxen, so that the Moors can be the ones to do what the Sultan is asking France to do now in the Treaty of Fez. Well, since all of them have been derelict in their duty to bring us back into the governments and kept us asleep, the Sultan felt compelled to petition France to help with the empire. And in doing so, they put it on paper through this legislative act known as the Treaty of Fez of 1912. Go ahead with Article 1. That's the backstory. Go ahead with Article 1.
The government of the French Republic and His Majesty, the Sultan, have agreed to establish in Morocco a new regime comprising the administrative, judicial, educational, economic, financial, and military reforms which the French government may see fit to introduce within the Moroccan territory.
Stop right there. Right there, off top, paragraph 1. Shows you the whole story. The government of the French Republic and His Majesty the Sultan have agreed. So The French and the Sultan agreed at a round table to establish in Morocco a new regime, with the French being in charge of that new regime, comprising the administrative, judicial, educational, economic, financial, and military reforms. These are all the reforms that's due for the empire of Morocco. These are the reforms that we as Moors now have to set forth within the empire, right? Starting with administrative, which that's the process that we're undertaking right now. The WRC, all the several states, these are all administrative processes. It's all paperwork, y'all. Mailing things out to the governors, to the United Nations, to all the other government officials of the United States, all the principals, the president, the attorney general, secretary of state, etc. That's the administrative work required. Then from there comes judicial, educational, right? We got to change the educational system. We got to reform the educational system so that the Moors can learn the real truth about their history and what really happened. Economic, financial, and military reforms. All these things are found in the Act of Algeciras. We have control over the military. We have control over the economic and financial institutions. We have control over the administrative aspect, judicial, etc. So since we, as Moors, were acquiescing and did not adhere to the ruling of the Act of Algeciras, starting with the Treaty of Peace, Treaty of Madrid, Article 15. First, we needed to adhere to Article 15. First, we had to come back and repatriate back to Morocco as Moroccans, and then establish our Moroccan governments, or the Moxens, to take control and govern the great enterprise, the vast empire. Okay? Well, that didn't happen. So they had to, again, like I mentioned, they had to petition France to do it on our behalf. And also protect us through the French protectorate, because we were lost at sea as Negroes, blacks, and colors who don't know nothing. So we needed protections. Okay, continue, brother. This regime
shall safeguard the religious status, the respect, and traditional prestige of the Sultan, the exercise of the Mohammedan religion, and all of the religious institutions, in particular those of the Habas. It shall include the organization of a reformed Sharifian Moxen.
Mm-hmm. So it shall include the organization of a reformed Sharifian Moxen. When you talk about a Sharifian Moxen, you're talking about the Moorish government. Sharifian Moxen is Moorish government. Semantics. We are the Sharifian, and Moxen is the government. So when we tell you, or when I mentioned earlier, that the WRC would then become the Moxen to the empire, that's what we're talking about. It becomes the government that operates the empire on behalf of the head of state. And all the several Moroccan states that are reclaiming all the different trust territories are also the Moxen. So it was supposed to be a cooperation between the Sultan as the head of state for the empire and the Moxen, which is all the several Moorish governments. Well, that's exactly what we're reestablishing. So it will be the Wazir of the empire, and the Moxen will be the several Moroccan states, to include the WRC. I hope that makes sense to everyone. Go ahead, Finn. Go ahead, continue.
The government of the Republic will come to an understanding with the Spanish government regarding the interests which this government derives from its geographical position and territorial possessions on the Moroccan coast. In like manner, the city of Tangier shall retain its recognized distinctive characteristic which will determine its municipal organization. Article 2.
There you go. And so oh shoot. You see this flag here? So that treaty established this flag. It's buffering. I'm trying to pull it open. Come on. Lord have mercy. I don't know if it's Zoom or what, but my computer don't act like this unless I'm on Zoom. You see it buffering. That's embarrassing. There it is. So that's the French protectorate flag, y'all. With the French flag in the top left corner of the flag, which is actually considered the canton of the flag. That's how that flag came into existence. And also the five-pointed star, which was established in 1915. That's why when people keep talking about the nobles say that, the noble, it's like, man, come on. Come on. You're talking about 1913. At the latest, 1928. We're in 2023. Why are we still stuck in the past? Why? I can prove to you that nobles said to get back into the constitutional fold of government. Well, that's what we're doing. So you can't pick and choose. He said that the other half wasn't told. This is the other half. And by the way, why didn't you teach us about the French protectorate? Why are you talking all this smack? Huh? Answer that question. So there's a lot of work to be done. We've been delaying our justice for about 200, 300 years. Certainly since 1906. And because of that, the Kingdom of Morocco was able to skate off with our flag and the nationality. They call themselves Moroccans. The flag is linked to the nationality is linked to the flag. When you see a Chinese flag, you automatically think of the Chinese people. When you see the British flag, you already go in the mindset of the British people. When you see a Brazilian flag, you automatically say, "Oh, those are the British. That belongs to the Brazilians." Well, where is our flag? Because if we present that particular flag, people are gonna think it's Morocco. Yes, we can make an argument and say, no, it's from the empire, and we can go through the whole thing. However, it's much more appropriate and fitting to not have to explain nothing. This is our new flag, which differentiates us, it distinguishes us from the Kingdom of Morocco and the Moorish Americans. And if I were to speak for myself, I myself am proud of that. Because now, when these foreign American police officer guys see our tags, see our IDs, they can't say, "Oh, these are Moorish Americans," and try to treat us like Moorish Americans. This flag will be promulgated to all the government officials of the United States, starting with the president, starting with the United Nations. Then from there, the president, the Secretary General, the Attorney General, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and all the governors for all the several different states. It's nothing new to us. We've been doing that already. This is how they're very well aware of this movement. We're not hiding it. We're not in secret. We're exposed. We're wide open with this. We're not hiding this. We're corresponding with all the government officials to let them know we're here. And we're here to make a proper claim as the competent authorities of Morocco. And you, sir, ma'am, foreign Americans, you are under our jurisdiction per the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the Act of Algiers, and the Treaty of Madrid, 1880. You signed those contracts. You subordinated yourself. You acquiesced to the provisions set forth in these documents. Now you must stand by it. Pacta sunt servanta. Can anyone tell me what pacta sunt servanda means?
Agreements must be kept. Islam.
Thank you very much. That was Aziz Anobey, the other wazir for Sarah. Skaroo State Republic of Morocco, Ante, North Carolina. Agreements must be kept. That's the law of treaties. Any questions before we close out?
No question regarding that, but I did want to make a suggestion regarding the flag that you mentioned earlier in terms of how Moors can acquire it. It may assist, at least, with the WRC, for the WRC to get these flags produced and then provide that as like a service or something on the WRC's website when it eventually goes up.
Agreed. Something that we can talk about. That's another point of interest or a agenda for these meetings.
Islam.
We're always in meetings. We're always discussing ways to improve and the things that we need to do to continue moving the ball forward. As Jay pointed out in class 120, he kept running back and forth behind the scrimmage line and never crossed the scrimmage line to get a first down. If this was football, in the past 100 years, we ain't never got a first down. We've been running back and forth behind the daggone scrimmage line, just buffering, right? Just buffering. Going nowhere fast. Motion is not the same as forward progress or forward motion. You could be standing in place just jumping around. That's motion, but that ain't forward motion. That's the difference between active and passive. All the Moors who think they've been active, they actually been passive. Activity, being active, involves the word act, A-C-T, which means action. But then action and act is also the act of writing a legislative act. You see? Writing is motion. But the proper written instrument gives you forward motion, such as a Declaration of Independence, a constitution. And then thereafter, you accept your accessions to all the treaties and all the charter and all the agreements, conventions, and such that comes from the charter, to then continue with the constitutional procedures of your state accepting it as your law, and then going even as far as to taking those same laws and converting them to be legislation for your state as Moroccan law. That's action, activity through legislative acts. That's action. That's forward motion. Anything else less than that is passivity. You're passive. You ain't doing that. You ain't moving forward. You're just moving in motion. I mean, you're just standing in place, moving around, which is just mere motion. But you lack forward motion, forward progress. Crossing the finish line, get the first down. Another 10 yards, get another first down. Another 10 yards, get another first down. And then finally you get to score the ball. You get to score a touchdown, I should say. In order to score the touchdown, you got to go across the goal line. It's all about forward motion, forward progress. And the executive director has been working tireless on a daily basis. And not just her, all of us, but we got to give a lot of credit to the executive director because she is the mastermind behind all the administrative process. Her and the inspector general. The inspector general assists with all the policies. He writes all the policies. I had it. I don't want to have to go back and start looking for it, but I had it pulled up at some point. Oops. I'm gonna touch on the policy real quick. Where is the policy?
On the note of forward progress, just a reminder to the Moors that have not yet joined the path to statehood, showing up to the doorstep of the UN without a state is not forward progress. It just makes you feel like you're doing something, but you're doing absolutely nothing but making a fool of yourself.
That's right. Period. This is the resolution, the policy regarding the flag. It's 11 pages. So we're not going to read it, but it's my computer. A second here. You see this message that came up? Okay, there we go. All right. General provisions. Oops. Let me go up. I'm trying to go up. Okay, there we go. So we got the flag, the standard proportions, right? The dimensions. Even use of flag for advertising purposes. Mutilation of flag, right? Pledge of allegiance to the flag, manner of delivery, time and occasions of display, display and use of flag by civilians, right? These are the different holidays. This is a rough draft. Position and manner of display. This is what competent people do on planet Earth. Respect for flag, right? Conduct during hoisting, lowering, and passing of flag. Modification of rules and customs by Wazir. And then we all voted on it, right? And this is how it became policy. You see? This is what competent authorities all across planet Earth do. Everyone except Moors, Moorish Americans, Black people, Negroes, coloreds, African Americans, Indians, Hebrew Israelites, you name it. Nobody operates like this. It's always based on some spiritual, religious thing or some form of organization, but never political maneuvers, political activity. It's the political activity that's going to get us our liberation. You got to remember, the civil rights movement was based in a political activity, right? And we thought at the time that we got somewhere. Yeah, well, the problem with that is it was the colonists who wrote legislation for us. We weren't writing legislation for us. We were marching and praying and begging the colonists to write, excuse me, to write legislation for us. As if we're not capable to write our own laws and legislation. As if we're not capable of typing up our own Declaration of Independence and our own Constitution and our own laws. Are you going to sit here and tell me, Moors, that we are incapable of doing that? We've been led astray by our spiritual leaders, whether it be a Grand Sheikh, a Reverend, or an Imam of a mosque. We've been led astray by entertainers and Hollywood actors and sport athletes and rappers. We gain inspiration from people like Tupac, which it served its purpose to a degree. It brought out the warrior mentality, which it's always been there, but it was displaced. We didn't know how to control that warrior mentality. We didn't know how to use that warrior mentality. We didn't know how to be competent with that warrior mentality. Instead, what we did with the warrior mentality is go under the energy of revenge. Kill them all. Put them back, put them in slavery. They did it to us, let's do it to them. But that's based in ignorance because we didn't know the history. All of this is by design. Henceforth, why the colonists, the foreign Americans, have been concerned about what it is that we're going to do when we come back into power, when we come back into prominence, when we come back into dominance. Well, dominating and coming back into dominance doesn't mean slavery. It doesn't mean use of force. It doesn't mean abuse. It actually means just cogence, human rights. It means diplomacy. It means friendly relations, friendly applications. The positive side of dominancy. Every coin has two sides. One side is negative, the other side is positive, right? Well, we chose to go on the positive side of the movement. We choose to love instead of hate. We choose love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We choose to uplift fallen humanity. This is why I can't go a day without giving honors to the illustrious Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Because without his teachings, we wouldn't have the concept to accomplish what it is that we're doing today. He recognized that the temple and his literature has been corrupted. So therefore, you got to use discernment when going over his literature, right? Some of which is clear as day, others is shrouded in symbolism, such as the cover picture art or artwork to the 101s, with him carrying the mothers, stepping outside of the cares of the world onto the rock of salvation. That represents Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid. He is choosing between the entire submission. He's stepping out of the cares of the world, which is the American jurisdiction, onto the rock of salvation, which is Morocco, carrying the mother. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we're doing. And we're also carrying the mother. How is that? Well, all the men have agreed through the Constitution to allow the matriarchs to take control, full control of the legislative branch. No man can be a part of the legislative branch. The legislative branch is limited to the matriarchal council, period. We agreed to that. That symbolizes carrying the mother into the Moroccan jurisdiction, choosing between the entire submissions. As we get ready to close out, let's go back to it. Let's go to it. Where is it? There we go. What did I pull up? Right of protection in Morocco. We want Article 15. Article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry about that. I know I'm moving too fast with this. Scrolling too fast. Do we have any questions before we close out? We're getting ready to close out.
Yes, brother. I have a question. I spoke to you earlier, and you referenced Italy and the Vatican as they relate to the United States of Morocco and Moorish Science Temple of America. Could you speak on that again? I'm sitting here with the sister, and she wasn't able to hear our conversation earlier.
Islam Grand Sheik. You heard the Grand Sheik, correct?
No, I'm not. I'm not with the Grand Sheik. No, I'm just sitting here with the sister.
Okay. Well, I thought you were a Grand Sheik. Okay.
No. No.
Okay, my bad. I thought you were the Grand Sheik. So what I was explaining to the brother earlier was what really represented by the divine and national side of the national movement, the divine and national movement. That's what we were talking about. What does it really mean? Many Moorish Americans in the temple are under the false premise that the temple is the state. And it is not. It's a temple. Act 5 of the Constitution, Divine Constitution and Bylaws says that it starts off by saying this organization known as the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's in the Constitution. It's an organization. That's the misconception. Because Moors don't want to do the work. Come all ye Asiatics and learn about your nationality. That was the outcry from Prophet Noble Ali to the people. Well, where were they? Where were he calling them to? He was calling them to the temple. So they can come into the temple and learn about their nationality, learn about the laws surrounding their nationality, so that now they can go out into the world and take their place in the affairs of men and establish the national side of the movement. So the same way Moors have this narrative saying that the Vatican stole the idea of the Vatican from the Prophet. Well, if you were to look at the Vatican is in Italy. Italy isn't in the Vatican. The state government of the soil that Vatican City sits on is Italy. So you got the Vatican, which represents the divine side of the movement, and you got Italy, which represents the national side of the movement, i.e., the divine and national movement of the world. So what I was saying with that is the temples could go hand in hand with the state governments. But you have the grand temple of each territory with all its subordinate temples. So that grand temple works hand in hand with the Moorish state government that has reclaimed that territory. So let's say Alabama. So Alabama was the territory of Alabama, which in international law is called the uti possidetis jurisdiction or juris, the longitude, latitude, the borders is being reclaimed or has been reclaimed by Moors in that territory. Let's say it's called Ali Bamu State Republic. Well, then the temple, the grand temple of that territory that was once under the authority of Alabama, the chartered colony, now comes under the protections of Ali Bamu State Republic. Which then means that in that transition, the temple becomes the Moorish Science Temple of Morocco. Because we're not Americans. We're Moroccans. Question 31 of the 101s. What is the modern name for the Moabites? Answer, Moroccans. Chapter 47 of the Circle 7 Holy Quran. The Moabites, which he had already explained in 31 that were Moroccans, the Moabites are the true founders and possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. And we are of the empire. We're not Americans. So it doesn't make sense for the empire to come back online and the temples to remain subjugated as American temples. They got to come up under the subjugation of America and come back under the protections of Morocco through the state governments. And that's the combination of the divine and national movement. Keeping in mind that the Moors were instructed by the Prophet to establish the Supreme Grand Council. The Supreme Grand Council is like the WRC. The Supreme Grand Council is the central body that governs all the subordinate temples. The WRC is the central government that unified and brought together all the several Moroccan states. So what I'm pressing upon the temple Moors is that the temple needs to do the same thing and repatriate back to Morocco. Okay. Any subject, Article 15, any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country. What foreign country? Okay. This particular treaty has 12 signatory powers, all of which are European colonists. France, United States, Great Britain, Russia, Hungary. Let's not talk about it. Let's read about it. These are the signatory powers. United States, under Lucius Fairchild, Germany, Belgium, Spain, France, United Kingdom, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Sweden, and Norway. All those jurisdictions, all those countries, all those states have Moors in there, in those states, who have been naturalized as French Moors, Austrian Moors, German Moors, Spanish Moors, French Moors, Italian Moors, Portuguese Moors, American Moors, Moorish Americans. It's a subjugated status. So you got to repatriate. Okay. Here's the repatriation nationality clause of the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15, which means that the temples and the members of the temples have to do the same. Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country. What's the foreign country? I just went over them, all those signatory powers, France, Italy, Germany, etc. And who shall return to Morocco shall, after having remained for a length of time equal to that which shall have been regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization. We were naturalized in these countries. For us, our battle is with the United States of America. The French Moors, their battle is with France. Choose between entire submission to the laws of the empire and the obligation to quit Morocco unless it shall be proved that its naturalization in a foreign country was obtained with the consent of the government of Morocco. That's paragraph 1. That is a ruling. This is a demand. There is no choice here. Because guess what? If you don't adhere to paragraph 1, paragraph 2 is your problem. For foreign naturalization heretofore meaning going forward, right? From here on out. Foreign naturalization heretofore acquired by subjects of Morocco, according to the rules established by the laws of each country, shall be continued to them as regards all its effects without any restriction. So if you don't choose between entire submission, you just choose to remain subjugated as a true American citizen. I'm a true American citizen. I am a Moorish American citizen. Then okay, don't complain about the laws that apply to you based on the American jurisdiction, because the only other choice here is for you to repatriate back to Morocco and fall under the protections of the Moroccan Empire. Until then, you're under the criminal and civil jurisdiction of the United States. And so the divine and national movement is exactly that. The divine is the temples. The national side is the Moorish governments. The temple is not a government. A government is a government. A temple is a temple. Period. Let's let go of that misconception that the temple is a government, because it's not. If it was a government and it ended up as a member state of the United Nations, then what would be the name of that government? The Moorish Science Temple of America? That's going to be the name of the government?
Islam.
Sounds like fraud to me, because it has the term America in there, and there's already a United States of America. And a temple can't be a government. A temple is a temple. A mosque is a mosque. A church is a church. And a synagogue is a synagogue. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, just to clarify a few points and to touch on what I wanted to talk about. It's essentially set up to be a governing body, but it's not a state government nor a local municipal government, right? It's just a temple. That's it. Religious organization, but it's set up as a governing body to govern over the members of said organization. That's it.
That's it.
right?
Mhm.
So that's the limitation of the MSTA. Unlike some VHS scholars, it's not a state government and it's not governing over the Moroccan Empire. That's just
Certainly not.
impossible, implausible, right?
Mhm.
Um, but to point out a few things, I believe you and I spoke about this before, but regarding the nationality, Noble Drew Ali, at least in the oral statements, um, he said that the nationality within this government was gained during the parade, something to that effect, right? Our nationality in this government began with the parade. He was referring to the first uh, convention in 1928, October, I believe, right?
Mhm.
So, with that date in mind, Moors need to ask themselves, what was the nationality before that parade, right?
Right.
And also, when you're asking yourself that, take into consideration that he pointed out that our ruler is the Sultan. Sultan of
Mhm.
what? The empire, right?
Correct.
So if he was using that language, right, when the temple was a civic organization and they didn't yet have the Moorish American nationality within the United States of America, then what was the nationality that he was repping back then?
Mhm.
It's something worth thinking about, because people are going to try to sway you into believing that statehood is not is fraudulent or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of people already slandering AMPAG and AMPAG, you know, people who
Right.
used to be friends, but now they're bitter enemies, but they kind of, team up with the whole slander and AMPAG stuff.
Right.
But you have to keep that in mind. And when you read the prophet's literature, be willing to ask yourself these questions. Don't just take people's interpretation and run with it. Because Moors will tell you anything. Moors will tell you, come out to the United Nations on January 8th in the dead of winter, freezing your toes off for nothing. You don't have a state, you know? Moors will
Right.
tell you, pay me $5,000 just so I can sign a piece of paper for you. That's not going to give you any remedy. It's going to put you behind bars. So don't just take what somebody say. Think about it for yourself, interpret it for yourself, research it for yourself, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, it's worth considering that, you know. But again, definitely read your treaties, put in your 100 hours of AMPAC study session, and take it from there.
Well, like Noble said, um, man knows not by being told. You have to have your own discernment. You got to do your own research. You got to do your own study, and you got to be in scholarship, not in fellowship. Being in fellowship is what's gotten us where we have gotten, which is nowhere. Scholarship now is taking us to another level of advancement within this Moorish movement. I bring your attention to what's on the screen. This comes from Wazir Hano. There was a Shriner convention somewhere downtown Charlotte. Hano was he showed up, was interviewing some of these guys, and took a picture of this particular guy. Look at what's on his face. Now the question is, when was the Shrine Club established? Well, it wasn't established after 1958. It was established in the 1800s, like 1859 or something like that, 1860, during the time of the Empire. And he's rocking a fez that says Morocco on it. And where is the headquarters and where are the Shriners located? Over here in the West, under the American jurisdiction, which is extraterritoriality because it's an overlay. America is an overlay to the empire, to the land of Morocco. So the Shriners, they tell you just in their symbols that they know what it is, that this is indeed Morocco. The ICJ in 1952 also highlighted that fact. Case concerning rights of the nationals of the United States of America in Morocco. The United States of America is in Morocco, period. And Noble Drew Ali dressed like a Moroccan. If you take a look at him and he said, Moors, look at me, dress like me, emulate me, or something like that. He's telling you that you're Moroccans. So, good brother, did I answer your question that you wanted me to answer for the sister that's sitting next to you?
Yes,
you
you
need me
did.
to
I
elaborate
appreciate
further?
it. No, that was perfect. Thank you very much.
It's really important for the members of the temple to start to catch on to this information. You've been lied to and led astray by your grand sheiks, the national grand governors, and all of them. We've been led astray. We've been led into believing that we are Americans and that we are the true Americans. We're not the true Americans. We're not even Americans. We are Moroccans. And that's the bottom line. That's the biggest takeaway of this class. And also the fact that redesigning the flag was appropriate for the fact that we are the new regime, the new dynasty of Moors who is reemerging into the empire. As such, it only makes sense to redesign the flag, just the same way the flags were redesigned under new regimes in the past centuries. Well, the same thing is taking place in today as a new era of time now. Someone had a point of interest before we close out? Somebody said Islam or something?
Islam.
Islam.
Yes. Go ahead with your question or comment.
I don't think they had a comment. They were just saying Islam.
Okay, in agreement, right? Okay. All right. Well, I just want you all to please, if you don't mind.
I have a question. This is Adrian.
Okay.
Adrian Bay. For those that's not actually Moroccan, like for example, this picture right here, can we like force them to take their hats off?
Oh, excellent question. We've been already discussing that. There will be legislation where nobody can wear the fez other than the actual Moroccans. That means Shriners can't wear the fez either. That means Moorish Americans can't wear the fez either. We're not going to commingle Moroccan, the nobility of these Moroccan states and their government officials and nationals with Cujo, for example. The Canadian, Moorish American, Jamaican bobsled team. We ain't doing that. So yes, the Shriners will be taking off those fezzes in due time after legislation has been passed. They're going to have to take that off. Whether in secret or not, you're not wearing those fezzes anymore. And neither will any other Moors, Africans, African Americans, any of that. No. Does anyone else wear yarmulkes other than the Jews? Only the Jews wear the yarmulkes. Well, only the Moroccans will be wearing the fez, because that's what the fez represent, and it represents the competent authority. It don't represent just anybody wearing it. It's not a baseball cap. It's our national headdress that represents a certain type of people that are upright, righteous, noble, competent authorities of their state as government officials or even nationals of the state. I hope that answered your question. And it might piss some people off. Ask me, do I care? Any other questions before we close out? Okay. So what I was saying is I would ask that you all be friends with the Wazir Council on Facebook and all the other several states on Facebook, as well as subscribe to the channels, such as the YouTube channel for AMPAG Media, AMPAG Media and AMPAG Media, Maru State Republic's channel, in which he, the president of the trusteeship council, Akil Bey, and the vice president, Kenan Bey, which are both wazirs of their states, their several states, they have classes, as well as Amir Bey, which is the wazir of New Mecca. They have classes for the trusteeship council. Attend those classes, like and share those videos. But what you see on Facebook please like and share those things, all those posts, because that's how we get the algorithm working in our favor to get this information out to all the people, our people, Black people, African Americans, even Moorish Americans who want to course correct. Listen, we don't have a problem with Moorish Americans. We want y'all to course correct. We want them to course correct, but not based on what we're saying, based on what the treaties say, based on what international law says. All we serve as is guides to tell you where to go. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So we need a guide. So we're guiding you to the treaties that are ancient and they predate the prophet. Go back and read those treaties. Man knows not by being told. Make yourself approved by you reading them yourself and then coming to the proper conclusion and understanding of the proper concepts as to who we are and what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Stop being in fellowship of Prophet Noble Drew Ali or anyone else. Be in scholarship. That's the important part. That's the main takeaway of this call. And I hope you all take heed to this, because that's what's necessary for us to gain the liberation from our occupation and never lose the empire again. With that said, you all have a great evening, and may the blessings of Allah be upon you all. Peace and love. Islam.
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 Islam,
brothers and
Islam.